friend, Erin Chase here, and I'd like to welcome you to a new episode of the Erin Chase Show, where we are going to be making homemade sloppy Joe sauce. This is actually one of the most popular recipes on the $5 Dinners website, and I'm really excited today to show you how to make it from ingredients that you probably already have in your pantry, in your fridge, and I'm also going to show you how to do like a make-ahead version. So this I have prepared and I can use this next time. I'm actually going to make it fresh, but then I could save this for later. I'll probably actually store this in the freezer because it has brown sugar in it. That tends to take on a little bit more moisture, even though this is well sealed. This is something I'll store in the freezer. We're going to just jump right into it here. I only have one camera today, so I'm going to just tilt over. You can kind of see that I have the ground beef right here. So this is how you would make sloppy joes with 1 pound of ground beef. So the recipe that I'm going to share with you today, grab a piece of paper, grab some notes. We're going to go this way. Sorry. Uh, we're going to get this browning here. So this is to make basically 4-ish, 5, 6 servings of sloppy Joe homemade. So the reason to do this is you most likely already have these ingredients on hand. A can of tomato sauce might be the only thing you need to buy. And a can of tomato sauce is cheaper than a can of sloppy Joe sauce. If you haven't checked the prices on those lately, go ahead and go do it. You'll be like, yes, please, I'm making this myself. Every dollar, every quarter, every penny counts in this season of inflation that we are in with grocery prices crazy. Actually, it's going to balance the cost of the meat, right? Because meat's gone up, what, 25% or so from what I hear. And so we want to do everything that we can. So if that means making a homemade sauce at home, using ingredients that we already had, doubling up, tripling up, keeping the dry mix in a stash. You can quickly add it with the can of tomato sauce and mustard and vinegar later. See, I told you they're going to be real common ingredients. So while this starts to brown, I'm going to share with you a couple fun variations of sloppy joes, and then we'll get into the recipe breakdown. So we love sloppy joes around here. I make them all kinds of different ways. Once you have the meat here, then you can do a lot of different things with it. You could do just regular straight up sloppy joes with a bun. You could do cheesy sloppy joes. I prefer to add shredded cheese. I like the shredded cheese kind of melts into the sauce with your sandwich. So that's like just a cheesy sloppy joe. You could also just serve it over rice if you have a gluten intolerance or allergy. This is gluten-free, this sauce is. And then you could serve it over brown rice or cauliflower rice if you're doing like the low carb thing. You could do little sliders with either a little slice of cheese or a little shredded cheddar cheese. I like the little bite-sized ones, especially for kids. Those are really fun. The boys like the little sliders as well. The other thing you could do, what other things can you do with sloppy joes? You tell me. One thing I've done before is you take a muffin pan, and then you put some dough, either like store-bought dough or you can make your own dough, and put it into the well, and then put the sloppy joe inside and then a little cheese on top, and you end up with this little like sloppy joe inside-out muffin bites sort of thing. It's super delicious. If you have a little extra time, you have some dough you could work with. That could be a fun way to do that. Another thing you could do is you could take this homemade sloppy joe sauce with the tomato sauce, the mustard, the vinegar, and the spices that we're going to get into, and pour that over like a beef roast. And then you end up with like a sloppy shredded beef almost. I'm going to get a little closer here. All right, so I just wanted to share some of those ideas with you. All of those sloppy joe ideas are on the $5 Dinners blog. You can click on the recipe that's on the video. You could explore some of the other options. You could just search sloppy joe, $5 Dinners, and you'll see all kinds of different choices there for doing this homemade option. So now that we're getting to the point where this is almost browned, I'm going to start adding in the dry ingredients. And here's what we're going to do with the dry ingredients. The first is going to be 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And I'm just going to add it right in here. I'm using my long-handled wooden measuring spoons. You can find them on Amazon. Just search long-handled wooden measuring spoons. Love these things. And I am going to just stir with these as well. Okay, so let's see here. Next, we are going to add a tablespoon of minced onion. I'm actually going to switch this since the meat is still not all the way cooked through. I'm going to just keep stirring, but I'm going to switch measuring spoons. All right, so the next thing that we're going to add in, there's my little, he's hiding over here. Sorry, hang on. We're going to do this right there. Okay. The next thing, like I said, 1 tablespoon of minced dried onion, chopped onion. You want the onion flakes. You could use onion powder if you want. That's totally fine. We're also going to add a tablespoon of smoked paprika. I'm tapping it into the measuring spoon very carefully as to not have an overflow. Okay, so if you were making a doubled version of this, let's say, then you could just add the same amounts of the dry ingredients into the jar. I've already done that there, but you could just measure one into the pan and another into the jar to save for later. So that is 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and last is going to be 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. This gives it a little smoky flavor. It's a nice little touch. If you want less smoky flavor, do 1/2 teaspoon. But I like the smoky flavor in that. So we're going to stir all this in, and now all of a sudden everything smells amazing in here. Whew. All right. And then as soon as all of this looks like it's browned, I think it's mostly browned. I see a few little spots. Then we're going to stir in the wet ingredients. So those dry ingredients, like I said, can be stored in a resealable container like this. It's 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of minced dried onion, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika or regular paprika, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. You can also do salt and pepper. You could do that now, or you could do that to taste later. I'm going to just go ahead and do it now. A teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. Again, add that now or add that after you've mixed all the sauce together. All right, next is going to be the wet ingredients, the saucy ingredients. Okay, and that's going to be a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. This is the part I told you. Here go the puppies. Sorry about this. There's probably a delivery in the cul-de-sac. They always go crazy for the delivery man. And with that, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of water just into the can. So I just added a little water in there. And I do that for 2 reasons. 1, to swirl this around and get as much tomato sauce out of there as I can. And 2, because this is sloppy Joe sauce, I want this to be thinned out just a little bit. So that liquid you can see is going to make the sauce a little thinner. I did not drain this. I like the fattiness in the sauce. Of course, if you wanted to drain that, you would do that before you add any of the spices or the sauce. Okay, another reason to love these wooden measuring spoons that are also stirring spoons is I don't have to clean it to do this. The next is 2.5 tablespoons of vinegar. Hello, Tang. Nice of you to join our sauce. Yeah? I'm going to turn this down because it'll start popping. And I don't want spaghetti sauce all over, or sloppy Joe sauce all over my pants. Okay. And then the last is going to be a tablespoon of yellow mustard. We're going to get that little mustard flavor, a little bit of tang. That is also why I love these measuring spoons, just like that. Easy peasy, measure and stir. Okay, great gift idea. Stocking stuffer right here. They're available on Amazon. Search long-handled wooden measuring spoons. Okay, look at that beautiful, it's getting a little more orange in color. This homemade sloppy Joe sauce. My boys are going to be so excited when they get home and they're going to be like, they probably can smell it from when they open the front door. Woo. All right. Let's recap this right here. I've got this turned down low. I'm just going to let it simmer. I'm going to give some time for all those flavors to mix and mingle and marry in the skillet. So we're going to have this amazing dinner option. So let's recap this. Why we're making homemade. One, if you need to control ingredients for dietary reasons. Two, because meat's expensive. Let's save money anywhere we can. And a can of tomato sauce is less than a can of sloppy Joe sauce by a lot. And you probably already have all the other spices that you need to make this. These are very basic spices. If you don't have these spices, you're going to definitely want to get them added. And while you're adding them, you might as well set aside some for the next time that you make sloppy joes, storing just the dry ingredients in an airtight, resealable container of some kind. So here is the recap. This is a recipe for 1 pound of ground beef. You could do ground turkey, ground chicken, any percentage of ground beef. I used 80-20 for this one. If you wanted something leaner, go with a 90-10 or 93-7. Then you have kind of the greasy level that you want. It just smells amazing. I wish I could send this smell through the computer to you. So a pound of ground beef, and we added 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of minced dried onion, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika or regular paprika, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Those are the dry ingredients. Again, those are the ingredients that you could put into a resealable container to store for later. Once that was all combined together, then I stirred in 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, plus a little bit of water that I put into the probably 3-ish tablespoons into the can to swirl it around to get all the sauce out, as well as to thin out the sloppy Joe sauce. A little of that water will cook off here, and you can let it cook until you get to the kind of consistency that you want. Know that when the sloppy Joe sauce cools down, it does thicken a little bit, so get that sauce consistency as you want it. Along with the tomato sauce, we also add 1 tablespoon of mustard, yellow mustard, and 2.5 tablespoons of cider vinegar. If you don't have cider vinegar, white vinegar will totally work. Cider vinegar is a little bit on the sweeter side, complements the brown sugar, but really what we're after with the vinegar is that tang into the sauce. So that is that, my friend. That is how you make homemade sloppy Joe sauce. Easy peasy, affordable ingredients, fast to do. We love all the different sloppy Joe. I shared a couple different sloppy Joe variations with you at the beginning. So if you're just joining, you can go back and catch the replay of this here in just a minute on the page. And yeah, I really want to help make cooking easier for you, dinner easier for you, more affordable, especially right now, friends. We're going to be talking so much in the coming weeks and months about things that we can do to combat the grocery price inflation that we're seeing. Like, I'm seeing it not in every single category. Definitely certain categories are more than others. Definitely like the meat, the poultry, that side of things is definitely higher. Some I've even seen up to double on that. And so that's like anything we can do to combat that. So making small changes like this, it does add up over time. A can of tomato sauce versus a can of sloppy Joe, it really does add up over time. Okay, that is it for this week's episode of the Erin Chase Show, my friend. I'll be back on Thursday. We're going to be making a holiday breakfast bake for the Dinner Made Easy show on Thursday ahead of the holidays. And then I will be off for 2 weeks enjoying the Christmas season with my family. And I'll be back in the new year in 2022 with new episodes of the Erin Chase Show on Tuesdays and the Dinner Made Easy show on Thursdays. My friend, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.